like a smidge, like a minute late, we're at least not, Gary from Nerdrotic and Friday Night Tight Slate. That's
That
always a good thing. So it's good.
that is the key.
That is the key. We were trying to figure out some like music, and apparently I am not a great streamer because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But I feel like that's how most streamers feel. So
I mean, that's how I feel every single time I press go live.
right, especially like so. Already sidetracked. Wednesday, I planned on doing my normal Witcher Wednesday, like how I do that for most of the day on Wednesdays. Yeah, well, OBS and Twitch weren't talking to each other that day.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go live. It was amazing because I had taken Tuesday off because I was tired Tuesday, and I was like, you know what, I'll just stream a lot longer on Wednesday. And thank you, Twitch. Anyway, how are you doing today, Ark? I feel like it has been forever since we have just chatted.
I know it's been like what 4 or 5 weeks. That's what it feels like, but I think it's only been 3.
I think so. Well, I had a friend from Hawaii visit me for like a week, and then I had my friend from Minnesota visit me for a week, and she was on the channel. That was, for those of you who maybe missed that, shame on you, but I understood.
That's right.
It was
Shame.
Labor Day weekend, you guys traveling, whatever. We talked about homeschooling and just all of those misconceptions about homeschooling. She was amazing. She might come on to the show one of these days again when she has internet. I love you, dear, if you're watching later. And then I unfortunately had a passing in the family, or in my husband's family, so I had to go to that. And so here we are now. There she is, Smile a While.
It's been a wild ride.
It has been. It has been a wild wide.
Wild. You just went a little Elmer Fudd there for a second.
Hi, Maxter. Hi, Late Art. Let's see who else, and then Smile a While. I'm here, you dummy. Well, I will also tell you. So my friend, like, she's one of my best friends. Smile a While for me. When she got here, she broke her freaking toe like on the first day.
Oh, lovely.
Then when she got back home, her motorcycle fell on her leg, gashed her leg open, and all that good stuff. And then she tells me later, she's like, hey, so yeah, this happened. And I'm just like, you just got home. What? See, I blame Ark for all of those delays. Mando can do no wrong. Thank you, Maxter. Mwah, I love you. You are amazing. Right. You are amazing. Right. Also,
when in doubt, blame me.
Yes, of course, of course. Last week it was just Ark's fault. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
What is up, Jacob Ironside?
Hey, Jacob.
Yesterday, was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday. I was actually on Jacob Ironside's channel wearing my cowboy hat. That's why it's in the background. I forgot to put it up. Because we were talking about some good old Westerns with John Wayne and his like, and it was amazing getting to watch good Westerns. I miss the good Westerns that had the rough and tumble manly man and the women that you wanted to smack. Like me as a woman watching some of these ladies in Westerns, I'm just like,
no.
What? Are you not capable of being? Do you
happy?
have to have it? Like what? Yeah,
and Mando is canceled.
Yeah, basically, because I am not one of those. Just oh no, the strong manly man walks in. Oh. I'm not that kind of lady, nor am I the rough and rough and tumble kind of gal.
Oh, Maxter, you take that. First off, your first part of that comment was correct. 3:10 to Yuma is amazing. But then you say Back to the Future 3 is also a good Western.
Back to the Future 3? That is not a Western. Just because it has tumbleweeds in the background for a couple of scenes does not make it a Western.
Western, it's got ZZ Top in it, for crying out loud.
Oh, man, yes. Smile a While. Hey, live life to the fullest, right? Yeah. File? What? Are you leaving now? Did I miss a thing? Don't leave now. Open range is all. Yes, very much so. Any John Wayne Western is my favorite. Just any John Wayne. They go back to the Old West. Oh, Maxter said it to mess with us.
Okay, well, I mean, Maxter, he knows how to do that. So
I see you, Maxter. I see you.
I let that happen far too often.
So what have you been up to, Ark? Like, I see that you stream like every day now, right?
I'm trying to at least, or like, well, not this past week. This past week, woof. So 3 weeks ago, I was able to like stay on topic and stay up to date, and I was able to get my Rings of Power episode 2 review out, but then episode 3 came out and took everything out of my sails. Everything. It was horrible. I hated it. Hated that episode with a passion. It was disgusting. The only other episode to top it, I believe it was episode 5, where they talk about Mithril. And so, and we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. And this is basically going to be the preview to my reviews. I have 3 episodes, 3, 4, 5. Well, no, I have 4 episodes to do now. 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have 4 whole reviews to do. And let
me know if you want to, if you want to do like a co-review or something, because I watched the first episode and I tried to watch it again so I could like retake the notes, because I like to watch episodes like twice. One time just to watch the episode, the second episode to have notes. And I tried to watch that first episode a second time and I started crying, and it just couldn't. It just couldn't. And then like I got an argument with a normie friend of mine, and it just I know what you mean. Like it took the wind right out of my
wonderful.
cells.
The normies are beautiful right now. They're just like, this is an alternate fiction. This is an alternate universe. This is an alternate timeline. Everything's an alternate.
Denial. Those 5 stages of grief, denial. They're in the 5 stages of grief. The first is denial. What is up, Roman of the Empire?
Hey, Roman, how you doing, brother?
Don't fight with the normie. Yeah, I'm trying, man. It's hard.
But here's the thing, Roman. I'm not trying to fight with them. I'm trying to have a conversation with them, and I can't wrap my head around their logic at all, because I try to ask a simple question, and then they say, "Oh, I like it because I like it." You can't fight against that opinion.
Then just say you like something bad. We all have guilty pleasures, okay?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I've been trying so hard. I have recorded my episode 3 review. I have recorded it. I've used 2 different scripts. I went off the cuff on one, and then I had like a stream of conscious. Each and every one of those recordings was horrible. I was going through the editing process. I was clipping stuff out. I was like making sure that it sounded all right, making sure that there weren't any mistakes, making sure I got the information correct. It did not sound good. That is how bad this show is. It is so bad I can't even review it without like coming off.
I don't understand how Gary how does Gary do it? Like,
how does Az do it? I just don't know.
Like, I guess I don't have the stomach to handle something like that. Like, that first episode, I'm so, like, just the first episode, like, you could tell, and then, like, I just can't even finish sentences because it's just so freaking bad. But yeah, I do need to, I think what I'm gonna do, I mean, unless you want to try and do co-review.
We could.
I feel like we just need the support, because I don't know if I could do it alone. I just start crying and I go to watch anime. Like, I binge watch an anime called 7 Deadly Sins because I was trying to avoid watching Rings of Power.
Yeah. And even then, some anime fans would say that you're a heathen for watching 7 Deadly Sins.
You know what?
Those are the type of opinions.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not the greatest, but compared to Rings of Power, it's like amazing.
It was like a breath of fresh air. I'm just like, yes. Let's see. Going to Oktoberfest today. Gonna drink it like a dwarf, proper dwarf. Yes. Boy band. Oh my gosh. Ark, it isn't a show. It's a government-funded torture device. Yeah, Seven Deadly Sins is good. I like it. Like, and let's talk about something we like for a second. And I know I'm not. Yes, it's not the best thing in the world. It's not the worst thing in the world though. But Seven Deadly Sins, for those of you who don't know, it's an anime, and the only way I can describe it is if the Japanese people were like, "Oh, we like this King Arthur lore and legends, and we like Britain. Let's put a Japanese and anime spin on this story." What? Basically,
doesn't make any sense. Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. But when you watch it, it's like
it's exactly that.
they made it fit.
They did.
It worked.
Like, you've got King Arthur, you've got knights, you've got Britannia. Britain.
Once again, it's the Japanese, like it's the Japanese like writers and artists, and that's what brings it to life. It's Japan is its own culture, so that is like the King Arthur myth with a Japanese twist on it, and it's very, very entertaining. It's something you could just throw on and just watch, and it's got all the action. It is
got a little bit of romance.
Yeah, a little bit of romance, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's just it's a good palate cleanser for those of you who maybe are watching some trash like The Rings of Prime and want to cleanse your palate with something that you just don't have to think about. You're just like, oh, this is fun. Explosions, boobs, things, fighting demons. Like, oh, okay, this is nice. Yes, nice, change of pace. Let's see. Was supposed to be in the Minnesota Renaissance Festival for Oktoberfest today, but those plans fell through because you had a freaking motorcycle fall on your leg. God dang it!
Literally falling through.
It's not the best of times. It's not the worst of times. Does it have 2D body?
We're asking for Boba. Boba would love to know.
Probably.
That's a friend of ours. That's a friend of ours from Discord. He's obsessed with anime and stuff like that. And
yes, Boba's cool. Oh, you have not heard this news. I need to tell you about this amazing news that I had this week.
What is this amazing news?
Made this week really good. So my birthday is sometime in November. Okay, so a few months ago, I was talking to my dad on the phone. It's like, hey, Dad, with gas prices rising and stuff, maybe in a couple years from now, I'm going to start saving up for a motorcycle. He's like, oh, okay. My dad doesn't usually buy really, really nice things for me. He just kind of is like, he gives me gag gifts. Like, he gives me a card that starts yelling at me and throws things. Like, he's one of those kind of dads, but he's not the warm, fuzzy dad type. And so Monday, because I work at a clothing store, I saw a leather riding jacket. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get that for when I do get a motorcycle. So I have a jacket for it. It's going to be cool. Why not? I get it for $6. Later that day, my dad calls me. He's like, hey, so happy birthday and Merry Christmas. I've got you a motorcycle. What? Like,
say what?
Say what?
Say all of that again.
Like, and he's like, yeah, so it's a sports bike. I was like, what?
I like that. It seems to work out.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, so the bike's like, we had to trade a couple things in, but it's about a $3,500 bike. And I'm like, it's worth more than my Jeep. My Jeep's like $1,000 and gets 18 miles to the gallon. That's why I was thinking about getting a motorcycle, because motorcycles get better gas mileage than my Jeep.
So
yeah, in a few weeks from now, I'm going to have a freaking motorcycle.
Nice.
I know.
Hey, look who we got in chat. We got...
What's up, Salty? Hail and a most happy Saturday. Go back to the old stuff for escape, find others to play games, or watch those good shows with your creative game, whatever, and share it with others. Heck yeah, Salty. Heck yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Agree. Yeah, like just watching the stupid Rings of Power poop. Rings of poop. It is Rings of Poop.
Yep.
Watching watching some good stuff, just hanging out. Like that's what this is.
Oh, now I will have to say, in the latest episode, have you seen episode 6?
I haven't watched past episode 2.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You
I
got
just
some
couldn't.
catching up to do because I need help with those reviews, Mando. I
Okay,
need
I
help.
will later on
So
tonight. I will binge watch.
we'll do a watch party together. I won't leave you alone, but now I will spoil it because we don't care about it. There's really no spoilers. In episode 6, at the very beginning, they're at the old elven fort, which actually turns out to be an old orc fort because there's like there's imagery of Sauron that are still there, even though the elves would have torn it down. Like they would have destroyed every single visage of the enemy possible.
Mhm.
And it was covered by vines too. It's and Arondir said that he saw this symbol before. And it's, remember that hilt, that sword hilt? The sword hilt?
Yeah. Mhm.
So the sword hilt was not a Morgul blade. The sword hilt wasn't even really a sword. It was a key. And in the fort, there's this lock. There's this lock that fits the sword hilt key thing. And then in episode 6, at the very end, they use the sword hilt key thing to unlock the dam. Apparently there's a dam right next to the fort, and then it lets all the water out of that quote unquote lake that's right next to the fort. And then the water causes Mount Doom to reignite.
What? What? Water causes. What? Water causes a volcano to ignite? What? Water? Was this water gasoline? Was this water alcohol? Where are the books? Where? Sorry.
So it's just ridiculous. The tunnels. So do you know anything about the tunnels that the orcs were digging? Right? Huh?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll just have to quickly go through 6 hours of useless content that they've made. The orcs. So I finally pinpointed where this quote unquote Southlands are. See, when you look at an image of the map, the Southlands span from Gondor all the way into Mordor.
Right.
That is the Southlands. They did a great injustice of having the Southlands have such a large name. The Southlands should have literally have been the southeastern corner of Mordor. That's where it takes place.
Right. Yeah.
There's this band of orcs that is being led by an elf, a corrupted elf. Now,
but that's what orcs are.
Now, here's the thing. This corrupted elf is one of the original orcs, corrupted by Morgoth. He calls the orcs that are underneath him his sons and daughters because he created them. He also killed Sauron sometime in the Second Age.
Wait a second.
And this orc is called, this elven orcish thing is called Adar, which in Elvish means father.
Oh yeah, I remember we talked about we talked about Daddy Elf.
Yeah, Daddy Elf. And that's the one I'm talking about. So he has his legion, or his tiny company. He calls them a legion. They're really, really tiny. They get completely destroyed by the quote unquote forces of good. Yeah, he has his company of orcs enslaving villages and using the villages as slaves, as well as also using the orcs for manpower. And they're digging
That's standard.
this gigantic trench, and also digging tunnels. And all of that is to funnel and channel all of the water from that lake, from the orcish / elven watchtower, straight to Mount Doom. Yeah.
Mando Brain is not responding. Please come back later.
Yeah, that is the orc arc of the entire first season so far. That's the orc arc. Now
Okay.
let's go to the elf of color and the healer lady. How they have like this will they won't they, like a very tense, very sexually tense attitude or sense about them. So the healer is like, when in episode 1 and 2, I always got that the villagers didn't like the healer because she talked to the elves too much. And then all of a sudden the healer becomes basically the leader of the village. While another leader of the village, his name is Waldrig. He looks like a cracked out meth head. He is like his father and his father's father and his father's father's father were worshippers of Morgoth, so he wanted to continue the lineage. And so he wants to see Sauron and wants to be a servant of Sauron, all right? He's the one who has the sword hilt thing under the floorboards of his farmhouse. Yeah. Arrow 404, Mando not computing. Yeah, it's very difficult. So you have Bronwyn, which is the healer lady, and then you have Waldrig, which is the cracked up meth head. And when Bronwyn kills the orc in her house, defending Theo, her son, she takes the orc head and slams it on the table. Remember? So she gets some brownie points and gets kind of like she becomes like a leader of the village. Well, Waldrig still is the leader of the village.
Right.
They go to the fort and they start getting other villagers from other villages coming to the fort as well. Well, Bronwyn and Waldrig, something happens along the way, and the elf of color is able to come back. Now I'm going to tie it all together real soon because we're still on the human arc. So to finish the human arc, Waldrig takes half of the villagers away to go serve, like capitulate and go serve Sauron. They're going to go surrender and pledge fealty.
Of course.
So that means Bronwyn is at half strength.
Right.
So they have to do something drastic to protect themselves. Now we're going to stop there. We're going to stop there with the human arc. Now we're going to go to the elf of color arc.
Okay.
This is Arondir, the elf of color.
Yes.
He has feelings towards Bronwyn. That's the first thing that we get.
Of course,
yada, yada, yada.
Of course, they're trying to steal a really amazing, story from the first age.
Wonder who could be.
Whoever could it be that they don't have the rights to?
So Arondir, of course, goes with Bronwyn to the burned out village with all the tunnels underneath. And then, he gets into the tunnels like a smart elf, right?
Right.
And then he gets taken captive and ensnared. He's ensnared.
Yeah, we saw that in the trailer. Yeah.
So he's taken captive. He meets all of his other elf buddies. They were also enslaved somehow. I thought that they were leaving. They got the transmission from Gilgalad that, hey, we're leaving. You can come back.
Guess that was a ploy.
Yeah, well,
or Gilgalad's working with Sauron.
Oh no! But anyways, one way or another, they all get captured, and then Arondir breaks the shackles off of his elven brothers.
Oh, the metaphor! Oh, the irony! Breaking free of the
all of the elves, but Arondir are dead now.
Well, of course, because
yeah, they just get killed. They're just dead. And then Arondir gets released by Adar, the elf orc thing. First elf, whatever. First elf, corrupted orc, whatever you want to call it. And so he is sent back, and he's told to give the humans that are in the fort right now a ultimatum. You either side with me and side with Sauron,
Mhm.
and you get to live, or you're all just going to get butchered. That's basically the gist of it.
I
So
mean,
he's running back to the village. Uh, in a roundabout way, the village is emptied. Yes, orcs are everywhere in the village, and Theo was sent on a mission. Well, he volunteered to go on a mission to get more food for the little fort because they're running out of food. They're starving. So
mhm.
Theo and a friend go back to the village. They load up on supplies. Theo goes into the tavern to try and find some stuff, I guess, and then he gets cornered by an orc. His little buddy freaks out and runs away with all the food, and he makes it back to the village, right?
Mhm.
So Theo is now like he was able to somehow defeat that orc. I forget. He doesn't. I think he kills the orc, or he just like slashes the orc and like
Well,
hurts
he's
the.
got plot armor.
Yeah, he's got plot armor, so he's hiding in the well outside. Remember the well that Bronwyn
Mhm.
and around it? Yeah, he's hiding in that well, and he hides in that well from like midday to like dusk, and the orcs are constantly looking for him, and they're constantly like trying to find him. They're yelling. Arondir makes it to the village around that time because Theo gets out and then he gets caught by an orc, and of course, like, he's got plot armor. And what's the plot armor? It's an arrow to the orc's face because Arondir's there to save him.
Oh my.
Now we get to this amazing scene. We get to this amazing scene where Arondir and Theo are running through the woods in slow motion, and this is where Arondir catches the arrow and flips it around and shoots the orc. Remember we saw that?
Yep.
Yeah, we saw that in the trailer. Yeah, that one. And so that's that scene. Um, it gets better as they're running towards the edge of the forest. Who's coming into the forest? Who's running the opposite way towards them?
The
His,
lady.
his mother, Bronwyn, with a scythe, nothing else.
Okay.
And guess what? All three of them are able to get out of the forest and into like this open little
Plot
prairie.
armor.
It's dark when they're in the forest. It immediately turns like morning, mid-morning, like where the sun just starts to peek out from behind the
I
clouds.
wonder where they got the idea about, coming just in time with the morning.
Yeah, I wonder. And all of this is in slow motion, by the way.
Wow,
It's
that's a
all in
lot of
slow
slow mo,
motion.
man.
And then the orcs, like a couple, run out into the sun and they start getting burned, and then they run back and they're like, "Oh, you've got us now!" And then so they shoot 3 arrows. I counted 3 arrows in that scene that were shot at Arondir. Each and every one of them missed.
Of
They're
course.
like you can't even hit not a standing target. You can't hit a
I feel
standing
like we need the
target.
stormtrooper, like, da, 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 da.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what you need because it's that bad. So Arondir, the elf of color, Bronwyn, the healer lady, and Theo all make it back to the little fort with the food and everything. And then Arondir is able to tell Bronwyn about the ultimatum. Bronwyn calls everyone together, and then she says, "Hey, so are you gonna stand and fight with me? You're a healer, Bronwyn. You don't know how to fight.
Right.
You go
Like,
into battle with a scythe, with a hand scythe, and it's
that doesn't
oh
inspire confidence, in my
no, it doesn't.
opinion.
And so half of the people leave. Now we're coming up.
Understandably.
We've got the elven arc and we got the human arc kind of merging together, and now we got the resistance arc. So half of them leave and half stay.
Of course. Oh, we're going we're doing Helms Deep here. I see where we're going. Battle of Helms Deep 2.0. Copy and paste. Wow.
Now, I thought that they would do the same thing. They pull a
Oh?
little bait and switch. They set it up like this is going to be the final countdown. This is going to be where
The
everything
final ring. sail.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that gets us to the beginning of episode 6. At the end of episode 5, Brownwind says, I think it's episode 5. Might be, yeah, it's the end of episode 5. Brownwind says that we're going to stand here until the tower falls. That's foreshadowing. So there's that gigantic watchtower that's along with the fort. Somehow the humans all weaken the stone and everything that's connecting it, and it's all being held together by one pulley. Okay? Follow me. All of the human resistance fighters leave the fort before the orcs get there. Because Adar and all the other orcs and all the other humans that went with Adar, went with Waldrig to vow service to Adar. They're like a conjoined group now. And they're going to go assault the fort. Because all they want is to get Adar his key. The sword hilt thing. But they're able to just walk straight up. Adar, the leader of the orcs, is in front of his army, walking across the narrow bridge towards an enemy fort.
Makes sense.
Completely exposed. Could take an arrow to the eye, very simple. But he's just walking straight forward.
Plot armor!
And then they open up the door. It's not even barred. They just open up the door to the fort, and they all start pouring in. And then he says, "Go find them. Like, go search them. Search for the humans." So more orcs start pouring in. I would say that there is about maybe 35-ish orcs that are inside the fort at this time. Arondir is just hiding. He's hiding next to a lit brazier, by the way, a lit fire. And everything else in the fort is like dark. There's hardly any torches lit. But he's sitting right next to a lit fire. And he thinks he's hiding. And then an orc says, "Oh, look, there he is right there," or something like that. And then he gets up and he starts pulling a Legolas. He starts like 1 down, 2 down, 3 down, 4 down. Well, he starts running out of arrows. And then he takes an arrow and he lights it on fire. And then
I thought you were about to say, and he takes an arrow to the knee. And I'm like, no!
I mean,
wrong thing.
That would have been better. That would have been better, like storytelling. But
for those of you who don't know, that's a Skyrim reference.
I have to say that the cinematography for when he shoots the tower and then the tower comes falling down, that was pretty cool. It looked like the tower coming down. It looked reminiscent to Barad-dûr from The Return of the King. It's a member berry. The tower coming down is very reminiscent of Sauron's Tower of Barad-dûr coming down, like exploding, the way that it falls. So he takes that flaming arrow and he shoots that one rope that's holding together everything, the one pulley rope, and then it starts tumbling down. Adar is just standing there in the middle of the courtyard, just staring up at that giant behemoth of stone falling towards him. And Waldrig is like, "My lord, we have to move you. You have to get out of the way." Instead, remember when Gothmog just sidesteps that one stone? That gigantic...
Sorry, I just had to.
Sorry. Remember when Gothmog sidesteps that one gigantic stone that the Gondorian trebuchet shoots at him and he spits on it? Yeah, he kind of pulls that. He just sidesteps the gigantic behemoth of stone coming, like, just hurtling straight towards him. So you think that like everyone's dead, right? You think that the humans win, right? Wrong. Arondir is able to, like, while the tower is falling down, he's able to jump off of his perch, run towards the gate, not get nicked by any swords or spears or clubs of the orcs. He's able to just run straight through. There's what looks to be like a 4x6 log that has some chain wrapped around it. Well, there's also a cinder block that has some chain wrapped around it on the outside of the gate that no orc noticed. Nobody noticed that chain in that log and that cinder block. Well, guess what? He is able to, like, kick the log and then close the doors at the same time, and then the log is stuck horizontally to where they can't open the gate, right? And then he kicks the cinder block off of the bridge to like have like it's a weighted, it keeps it weighted so they can't open it up. Orcs, which have strength more than humans, probably
Mhm.
more so than elves because they're made in mockery of elves, they're mutated,
Mhm.
and they can't pull a 4x6 log with a weighted chain. Like they can't pull that up and then open up. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the really.
And so Arondir gets away. He runs across the same bridge that had what looked to be hundreds of orcs walking across it. Where did they all go? We don't know. The orcs just aren't there to like fill him full of arrows or stab him full of spears. He just
Blood
gets away.
armor.
He makes it back. He makes it back to the human village. This is where Helm's Deep takes place.
Oh my
They
god.
call a wooden structure known as the tavern. They call that the keep. Bronwyn is like, we're gonna pretend that this is our keep. You're gonna protect the keep. So they put all of the women, all of the children, and all of the old men into the quote unquote keep.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
Yeah.
No!
I was
Sorry.
doing that. I was doing that the entirety of episode 6.
Oh my
Also
god.
maniacally
Oh
laughing.
my god.
I was
Sorry?
maniacally laughing as well. Like you got to go a little insane when you get 6 episodes. That is 6 hours of content where nothing happens.
Let's catch up with the chat. Ugh.
Oh, we're not even done.
I want to catch up with the chat for a second. I'm sorry. I need. Yes, that is right. Smile does not equal that. Oh my god. Romans or arc. Let's see. Rings power is like those crappy Zelda games on the sea. What's up, Heath? So my brother is a huge fan of the original films. I think he reads the books, but is pretty solid normie. Still, I don't understand how he's watching this and thinks it's decent. Yeah, Smile. I don't understand. That's right, Ladar. Poor Az does it all the time. I guess I would just consider myself someone that I am perfectly okay with reading the books and reading the proper lore. And I understand that there are things called fan fiction. I understand that most fan fiction is very different from the original story, and most of it is it's pretty bad because it's just people, just writing their own thing. I feel like Rings of Power is just a really bad fanfic. Like,
Oh, it's not even that. That's a disservice to fan fiction.
that's
Because
true.
most fan fiction, you actually have someone that cares about the story or cares about the characters. And yes, yeah, you're gonna get the weird fan fictions. We're not talking about those. We're not talking about those. We're talking about like genuine fan fiction that is just a fan that has an idea and wants to write about it, and then they post it for free on like a blog site or an
Yes.
online forum for free. You don't have to have a subscription service.
Right,
behind
because
a
they
paywall.
understand that their thing is not canon. That is big difference between fanfics and other things. Is fanfics understand their work is not canon.
Oh, by the way, my books are on the way. I've never read them. Can we still be friends? Absolutely. I've never read Harry Potter, late art.
Yeah. Oh, you've never read Harry Potter?
Nope.
I
Never
can loan
interested
you.
me.
Oh, you're not interested. Okay,
It never interested me, but I have to watch the movies now because later told me I have to, so I might as well read the book.
They are good until movie 4. Movie 4 kind of they start going. As far as like being, like diverging from book to movie in a good way, like, because I understand sometimes movies have to diverge a little bit from the book. Whatever. I'm not one of those that's like, you must stick strictly to the book. I'm like, I understand book. You can't really. Anyway, movie 4, in my opinion, late art, you might have a different one, is where they start kind of going, why did you change that? There's no point in changing that. There's like, why did you do this? Why are we doing this? And that it's after movie 4 is where you start asking those questions. If you've read the book, if you haven't read the book, don't worry about it. Just enjoy the movie. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'll probably watch the movies, then sometime later read the books. So, and yes, Ark, you have to. Wow.
Agreed. Hey, while we're in Orlando.
No, I want to enjoy myself in Orlando. I don't want to watch some fantasy show that I might not enjoy. I might come out of it thinking that was a complete waste of 2 hours of my life.
Speaking of, what all, like, so you and I are definitely going to be at the meetup.
Yes. The second one.
Yeah. So if any of you are in Orlando for the meetup, Ark and I are going to the second one.
And the second one is full.
Yes, it is completely full.
So,
and I actually have plans after the meetup with a friend who is visiting from out of town, and I will not say their name because they told me that I must keep it private. But I will be visiting with that person right after the meetup, possibly. I don't know. We're still figuring things out at the moment. But Ark and I will be in Orlando from the 27th through the 3rd, right? Those are the dates.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So if anyone like wants to hang out, you're gonna have to DM us. You're gonna have to be like, hey. Yeah. Late Art says you are not allowed to have any fun at the meetup whatsoever. I forbid you.
I know.
It's not quite up yet on StreamYards. There we go. Now I can highlight it. So I also have the stream up, so I can get those comments a little sooner now.
I know, right?
StreamYards is like a good minute or maybe half a minute behind when the actual comments are made. So I like to try and have both up. If you're ever curious why I'm looking like
looking down and around and left and right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't have a cam on and they won't know that.
I mean, but for some reason there are people who say that when the audience sees your face, they relate more to you. There is a connection there. I don't know.
They relate more to my curses. Especially when it comes to Rings of Power. See, that first review that I did of episode 1, it was uncut. It was completely like just basically raw footage that I just uploaded because I was like, let's just talk about it. There were so many gaps. There was like 15-second gaps where I was just thinking about what to say. And then the second review, I clipped it down, and I think it's like 38 minutes, and that one looked a lot better. So
I think by review video 6, I kind of had a rhythm. That's how long it took me.
And so it's horrible. The first review is horrible. And then that's my first video on YouTube. Is like, enjoy it. It's an hour long.
Hey, everyone has those. Everyone starts somewhere. Everyone has those videos. My first review video, I say every 15 seconds. Now imagine editing that.
Every 15-second clip. Every 15-second clip. Clip it.
Now imagine that I recorded for 30 minutes. Every other word was I got so sick and tired of hearing my own voice.
But just if you're thinking about doing it, just go out there and do it. I mean, if I can do it, then I know anybody else can do it. All you have to have
or go ahead, sorry.
All you have to have is like Streamlabs OBS or the original OBS studio or StreamYards or any type of recording device you have, like your phone. Most phones nowadays have a way to record. Just record. You don't even have to show your face. Just like go outside and find a nice plant and then record the plant.
Yep.
Just do that. So, and if you have something to say, go ahead and say it.
Yes.
You're going to find somebody to agree with you.
Yes. Do it. Yeah, like so many phones nowadays, like when YouTube first started, like there were YouTubers who would have killed to have like a phone as good as what we have phones now and being able to record stuff.
Yep.
Like, so yeah, a lot. I know people. Can I do it without speaking? No, Ladart, you must say words. Well, actually,
no, that's not true. There's plenty
right.
of YouTube channels that have text to speech that have thousands of subscribers. And I
that
don't know
is
how
true.
they do it.
Right? Yeah, I think they do. I'm gonna turn on my voice mod for a second. Let's see. There are people who have a voice recording software that can change how their voice sounds. So, Ladart, if you want to sound like this,
or you want to sound like this, there is a service out there so nobody can actually understand what your voice sounds like. You're welcome.
Later, you need to make a video with the chipmunk voice. That's what you need to
yes. So yeah, there's plenty of services out there. If you don't like how your voice sounds, there is audio editing that you can do on the fly while you're recording. Smile a while for me is probably everyone in the chat is now laughing. You're welcome. This is your entertainment this Saturday morning. Glad I could help you. I miss Saturday morning cartoons. You know, like where you just woke up, you got your cereal, you sat down and you were just eating, watching Spider-Man or whatever you watched when you were younger.
The animated series.
Batman the animated series. X-Men the
Johnny Bravo. I remember watching Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo, yes. Powerpuff Girls, like all that Cartoon Network stuff. Dexter's
Cartoon Network was actually good. Yeah.
Yes. Dexter's Lab. I love Dexter's Lab.
And the Rings of Power review would have been way better with the chipmunk voice. Okay. Okay. I'll think about it. I'll think about it.
No, we should do a combined review and I will do the chipmunk.
No.
And I'll just respond to you like, really?
It's gonna drive me insane. More insane than the show. Well,
I don't know if you can edit out an accent, Ladart. That I don't know.
But you don't. It's fine. I don't even.
But a lot of people love European accents, like the British quote unquote accent. It's exotic. That brings the people in. It does. People are tired of listening to redneck Southerners.
Hey, now that's I take offense to that statement right there.
Well, excuse you, sir. We didn't watch TV, but we listened to Adventures in Odyssey on Saturday mornings. Yes. I did hear some of those, yes. Smile a while. But yeah, like I just feel like dude, I could fall asleep to a European accent any day. Same. My little Google home that I have, and I have a Google Pixel 6. Guess what accent it has? It has a British accent. Because Mr. Bloop Bloop got offended that I was using the Australian male accent. He said no. So I wonder why.
That's good. I like that. That's funny.
Oh goodness. But yeah, so like speaking of Orlando, if any of you are gonna be there, we're gonna be at the second meetup, but we're gonna be in Orlando for a while. So if you're there,
Thursday evening.
Yeah,
all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, all day Monday, and some of Tuesday.
Yes, some of Tuesday. So yeah, like I imagine because like I feel like we're kind of gonna be playing this really loosey goosey because there's like thousands of people there that are gonna be like, hey, you guys want to hang out? And I'm gonna be like, let's go.
There's gonna be a lot of people that want to go to like. I know that Thursday Geeks and Gamers did they posted something on Twitter. I think it was yesterday, talking about how Thursday, the Park Hoppin' crew is going to be at Halloween Horror Nights on Thursday, the 27th.
Yup, I don't know if that's expensive.
And then on top of that, they will be doing a less expensive, I think it's like $45 a ticket, but that's still kind of expensive. Halloween themed SeaWorld or whatever aquarium they
Ooh,
have
okay.
there. And so they'll be doing one like that.
Okay,
And
yeah, so I might go to that one. So like there'll be some that I'm sure Ark will be at that I probably won't be at. So like just I'll be out and about. We'll, like just DM message, like let us all know. Hopefully we'll like cuz I know there are some people who probably won't go to the Halloween Horror Nights because they don't like horror stuff. So I'm sure there's probably going to be a group somewhere doing something. Just keep your DMs open, look at Twitter, look at Instagram,
yeah.
Discord if you have it. Like there's thousands of people going to be there. I'm sure somebody's going to find a way to hang out with somebody.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be a great time. I hope that this is a learning experience for geeks and gamers and neurotic, because this is an extremely, number one, in general, this is an extremely busy time of the year for the Orlando area. Number
Yes.
two, I don't think that geeks and gamers truly thought this many people would want to go, and are actually going to go.
Right.
So, like,
And like this is
will
on
definitely,
top of the fact that a lot of people canceled because of what time of year it is. Like thousands of people are still going, but a lot more would have gone.
yes.
So like
I think if they just got like 40 acres in the middle of Texas sometime in the fall when it's like not as hot but not cold yet, I think that you could get like several hundred people there just hanging out, chilling, maybe have a concert. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But I just it's comforting. It's comforting to know that, oh, I'm actually going to meet the majority of the fan base, the majority of the people that we consider a fellowship. So I'll just be offline the whole time. It would just make me sad. Listen, Ladart, I'm going to be taking pictures of everybody and sending them to you. We're going to have like custom made Ladart videos.
I have live streamed from this phone before. It can handle being live. I don't know if I'll do a lot of live streams, but I'll at least do a little bit. So that way, like, that way people can see.
We're gonna get custom made messages for you, Ladart. That's what we're gonna do.
If you want to send, like, I can like get your little icon and I can blow it up and I can put it on like a stick or something, and we'll do what they did with Az last year and be like, hey. I've already threatened to bring a body pillow of Wicked Virtue, like have her face on a body pillow. No. And be like, hey, everyone. If you want me to do that for you, I will. I make sure nobody touches the photo though in a creepy weird way. I promise. Like I'll just be like, hey, she's here. Hello.
Oh, hey, you want to know what just arrived?
What?
Just arrived just now. My Rippaverse comic.
I wish you freaking had a freaking camera so you could show it to us, because I still haven't been able to pre-order any of them or do any of that because money.
I don't want to open it. I want to finish the podcast first.
You're going to have to take photos and put them in the Discord. Speaking of, Ark and I have Discords that you all should join if you haven't, because I'm sure Ark is going to post his stuff for his ISOM comics in the Discord.
Yes.
So,
yes.
You should join. And if any of the mods want to put, any Discord links in there, please feel free to do so.
I'll go ahead and just do this.
I freaking love that. Of course. Like, also, like, on Discord, I can do a big group voice/video call, like, where those of you who can't be there can just join a voice chat in Discord, and I will, like, I will have my phone up and it will feel like you guys are there. Like, we can figure out a way for you to feel like you are there even if you are not.
Absolutely. Because even though we are there's very few people that are going to be able to go, we're still a fellowship. We're still a family. We're still going to include you even if you're not there.
Yes.
Like if you want me to get a custom made video with Gary, I will do that for you.
Heck yeah. Same. Like if you want me to get, to walk up to Gary and be like, "Hey Gary, can you do a shout out for late art or for smile a while for me or for Max or whoever's not there?" Like I'll do that thing where I'm, I'm in Discord on a live call and I will like be like, "Hey Gary, can you say hi to my friends?" Like we'll do that. Like cuz that's what you guys mean that much to us. Like we have no problem with making you guys feel like you were there, even if you can't go, because we love you guys.
Yes.
Yes,
absolutely.
So yeah, and Discord is probably the best way to keep in touch with Ark and I feel, is that right? Like
that is correct. That is correct. The Discords are amazing.
Mhm.
There are many different Discords that you can join within the fellowship. Of course, there's like the main Nerdrotic Discord and the Geeks and Gamers Discord, but that's got like several thousand people a piece.
Oh yeah, like I have been a member of Gary's Discord for a long time now, and I know a few people in there, but you get lost in all of the chit chat.
Yes, you do. And so when you have your own personal channel Discord, it's a little bit more personalized, and you can get to know your community, and you get to know the community at large on a more personal level, and that's how you build a stronger fellowship. It's not all just one gigantic. It's the G&G main Discord to me feels like a cafeteria, a lunchroom, a gigantic Coliseum-sized cafeteria where everyone is just yelling and everyone's having their own conversation, and then you just have to find your own table to sit at. That's what it felt like when I first joined. But then I made my own Discord. I made my own Twitch channel. I made my own YouTube, and I met all of you guys. And so I was like, I'm going to invite you guys to the Discord. Then we start talking, and we've developed such a wonderful relationship. I remember when I joined Mando's, it was so welcoming and so nice. It's just
mine is a little bit quieter than Ark's. Ark's is like, who is it talking in there? Hello.
Yes, that's pretty much it. It's napalm compared to just gasoline.
And if I am still in the process of building my community, and granted I know Gary doesn't like to use that word fellowship. I'm still building it, and Ark's still actively building his. So there's still apps, like if you know people who want to join our fellowship / community, whatever you want to call it, like just let us know.
So I understand where Gary's coming from when he talks about community versus fellowship, and it's purely because the Fellowship of the Ring, like that's purely it. It is smart when all things considered, but I'm not going to let people take away the word community. Community has been around forever. Community has meant what it's meant, and it's not it is not something that I am going to let somebody take from me, and I'm not going to let somebody pervert it or twist it or make it into something that it shouldn't be. And so yes, I use community and fellowship interchangeably. And that's just one area that I'm going to disagree with Gary on.
And that's okay. That's what this whole our whole community, fellowship is about. Like people disagree. There are people within the fellowship.
Lofty Pixels is one of them. Lofty Pixels is #1 contrarian, and I love that guy. Like he drives me insane. He drives me insane. But I gotta respect him because and he only like quote unquote attacks people if they start attacking him first.
Right.
If they start belittling him, if they start making fun of him, if they start personally attacking him, then he'll defend himself. That's all I've seen. Now I've seen him say some crazy things like the rings of power episode 1 and 2 premiere was an 8.5 out of 10 or something like that.
Or him and Uche, like Uche's another one that floats around in this, these circles where sometimes his takes, I just kind of go,
what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Uche? But like he's like literally one of the kindest people that I've seen on the internet. There was one time where he on Twitter, he said, I am tired of this negativity. I only want to see like nice videos. I only want to see happy videos. And then I remember seeing it because Nina Infinity said every single Friday before FNT, she has her like little show that goes on where it's called, I believe it's called Infinite Hope.
I think so.
It's just nice videos about animals and humans being nice to one another, and about things that instill hope, things that make you happy, things that are just pleasant to look at. And I love watching that. I always go. And as soon as I see that notification, I'm like, I'm there. I'll lurk.
Usually, Fridays are kind of busy because I do a Fortnite stream on Friday mornings, and usually that goes on for several hours. So like most time I don't even get to catch Friday Night Tights because right when my stream ends, usually sometimes Friday Night Tights is starting. But then I'm also on my friend Wicked Virtue's, Mario Kart stream that she does usually on Fridays, and then Jay from Drunk 3PO does a stream after Friday Night Tights usually with his members. So like if you want positivity and you don't like, I will always support Friday Night Tights. I love Friday Night Tights, but sometimes hearing the same thing sucks over and over and over again. It kind of gets repetitive. And so sometimes if you're looking for something else, there's tons of stuff within our community out there.
And that is the point of this fellowship. FNT and Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic and all of that, it started this, yes. But I shouldn't say it started it, because we all had individual communities and individual fellowships, and we were all brought together under a common cause of just wanting to have a nice, better place on the internet for people to openly disagree with one another and to openly support one another. And to not like this is the most, I'm going to use some SJW words here, but be careful, like pay attention to what I'm saying. This is one of the most diverse, most inclusive fellowships I have ever seen on the internet. We hardly have a toxic person in this fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you have to do to understand toxicity is you have to, number one, have a conversation about it. And number two, you have to understand where that person is coming from and understand what that person is actually saying through context. And half the internet, I'd say more than half the internet, won't want to do that.
Right. Most people don't want to sit down and be like, okay, why do you disagree with me? Let's have this conversation. Let's get a cup of coffee. Let's go sit down. You hate, you like Rings of Power. I dislike Rings of Power. Let's have a conversation on why we dislike or like something. Most people, no, I don't want to have a conversation with you. And that's on both sides. Both sides. There are people who absolutely hate Rings of Power, and they only want to hear people who hate Rings of Power. They don't want to hear any positives. Well, me as somebody who dislikes, I was able to get through the first episode and really couldn't watch anything else. I could still say something positive about the Rings of Power. The scenery was pretty.
Yeah.
People can, there's a difference between just blind hatred of something and I don't like that. And here's my, 15 reasons why, and able to have a conversation. What's up, Cajun? I feel like I haven't seen you forever.
How you doing, Corey?
Granted, I haven't we're gonna see literary souls in a bit.
We're gonna see Cajun Corey in Orlando. He's driving down.
Yes, I'm so freaking excited. Freaking excited.
We're gonna see.
I feel like the Airbnb that we've got is going to turn into a party Airbnb by the end of this. There's going to be 15 people. We're like, who's that? Where did you come from? Why are you sleeping there?
Yeah. Codenomics said that he's going to go ahead and bring some cots, and I'm like, thank you. I won't have to sleep on the floor.
Oh man, unless it's pineapple on pizza. That is the eternal debate, and I will not budge.
See, and that is what I like about this community is we argue about some of the dumbest things ever.
But we understand it's jokes.
Yeah. We argue to the death about some of the dumbest things ever, and yet we still know that it's just jokes.
Like, I've timed people out in my chats because they liked pineapple on pizza, but it was timing out, and of course it's a joke, and but you also like need to understand, like, we like to joke in this fellowship. We like to have fun and poke fun at people, and if you don't have a thick skin,
then you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. You have to have a thick skin, and you have to be able to, number one, not only take a joke, but understand the joke and understand that it is a joke. Don't
right?
get butthurt. That is
And
the one thing
thing
that I don't understand with these people is they can't take a joke on the internet.
a lot of it is because they don't believe at some level, like they believe that you really mean the joke, like you quote unquote, they don't have faith in your character, because like you can say something to me and I might take a second and be like, that's kind of but I know that you were joking, so I'm gonna laugh at it anyway because I know your heart. I know that you're not going to actively try and tear somebody down like in a derogatory, mean-hearted, mean-spirited way. So like I'm okay with us poking fun. Our redneck selves, I'll poke fun at my little redneck self. It's fine. And I'm going to poke fun at the other redneck right over here.
This is where we have Southerners, and I'm talking below the Mason-Dixon line. We got Yankees, Northerners. We got West Coast. We got East Coast. We have Canadians. We have Mexicans.
The tea spillers.
We have South Americans. We have the tea spillers over there in Britain. We have
later, I'm talking to you.
We have Western Europeans. We have Eastern Europeans, and we have those. In the Asian countries, this fellowship spans the entire world, and it has opened up so many friendships and so many avenues to talk about different cultures that I never had just living in Arkansas.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like Ark and I have I've lived in Arkansas almost 10 years now. I forget how long, whatever. I've never even heard, like, Ark and I would have never even met, even though we live in the same state. If
we
it hadn't
live
been for this
4
fellowship.
hours away from each other. 4 hours. That's really close. That's a day's ride away.
Mm-hmm. Never would have met him.
So yeah, it's this fellowship has literally, when I say it's changed my life, it's literally changed my life. And there, all of the support that I get, and all of the support that Mando gets, and all the support that Gary gets, it's only possible because of this fellowship. Like there would be no Geeks and Gamers without the fellowship. There would be no FNT without the fellowship. It is, number one, it's humbling. Number two, it's mind-boggling, because yeah, and y'all never would have met me. Yeah.
The crazy Cajun.
It leaves me speechless.
Yeah. And like the other thing that I've noticed, like even when one of my close friends, when we were talking about Rings of Power and the reasons why, she didn't like it, one of the things, like in our initial argument that kind of stung, was she used the quote, "We love you too, late art." One of the things that stung was, she insinuated that I was a racist.
Yep.
And that's terminology that's used, of course, by the crazy left. And I don't consider this person crazy left. I think she's just probably drank a little too much of the Kool-Aid sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of, it made me take a step back and go, how on earth, with this fellowship, with the people from all over the place, from the UK, from, like what you were talking about, Ark, with South America, crazy, all these different countries, all these different places, like, in order to be in this fellowship, you have to be the furthest things besides Ryan Kennel, who we all have confirmed he's a racist. Like, you must be the furthest thing from a racist ever. And I just think back
Because
to
here's the thing.
Friends.
Here's the thing. The white folk in our community, the black folk in our community, the tan folk, and everyone else, every other shade of color
Mhm.
in our community, we can sniff out the racists. We can sniff out the homophobes. We can sniff out those that are bigots. We can sniff those people out, and then guess what? We shun them. We don't talk to
Mhm.
them. We expel them from the community because that is not a good thing to be. And who are the people that are the biggest racist and bigots? Those that call us racists. It is very simple to see. Go on Twitter, go on Facebook, go on any go on YouTube. They make YouTube videos about us.
Mhm.
Some of the most disgusting people hate our fellowship because of the
Mhm.
love and because of the compassion we have for one another.
And the only reason Geeks and Gamers or Gary from Nerdrotic or even, just some of the other channels, the only reason they even get quote unquote a negative light is because there was some fake person that snaked their way in and then started some drama and then they left it all in flames. And of course, the leeches snatched right on to, oh, somebody from Geeks and Gamer community said this XYZ thing, when in actuality they weren't really part of the community. Like just stuff like stupid stuff like that. People are actively trying to find dirt on our fellowship and our community. Why would they be actively trying to find things? If we really were as bad as people said we were, they wouldn't need to actively be searching. There'd be evidence. There'd be something that says, hey, these people that are in this group, they're all racist and they're all homophobes. Well, there are active, gay people in our community. There are active, like I'm a Christian. There are Christians interacting with people who are not Christians, who are a couple friends of mine said they would be, consider themselves pagan. Like there's just so many different people, and I'm able to have a conversation with them. Like I'm able to have a conversation with somebody who does not believe the same things that I believe because we are still all part of the human race. We all we all bleed red. Why is this so hard to understand?
And this is what makes Orlando and any other meetup that I go to so special, is not only am I meeting other people that they live completely different lives than me, they think similar to me, but they hold different beliefs, but it's the aspect of being able to sit down and break bread, being able to sit down and have a meal with one another, and having that just having a conversation, be not over the internet, not in chat, just typing on a keyboard. You'll be able to see their facial expressions. You'll be able to actually see this person. When people they don't see a random Sutton Who helmet on a skull logo for me. They'll actually see who I am. Mando's actually met me.
Yes, I have. And it was cool because we actually got to break bread in a sense and have pizza, and it was amazing.
It was. That was a good pizza. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yes, we will.
And that is what the meetups mean to me. The meetups, it is wonderful that I'm going to be able to meet Gary and Jeremy and Ryan and Stephanie, my nerdy home. I'm going to be able to meet
one of these
Tugs.
days she will pronounce my name correctly.
I'm going to be able to see Krista again and meet the G&G crew and meet the Nerdrotic crew and the people like the quote unquote focal points of the fellowship. Like I'll be able to meet them again, but I'm going to be able to see the chat again. I'm going to be able to see the people that have welcomed me into the fellowship. It was the creators, it was the content creators, yes, but it was the people in chat that made it worthwhile and made it worth staying.
Yep, you guys in the chat right now are the reason why we do this. Plain and simple. You guys are it really is there were people in different chats. Like I was in Friday Night Tight chat. I was in different Discords, and you know what? People encouraged me. They were like, We like your personality. You should start streaming. I was like, nah, people don't want to hear what I have to say. Like, I'm just another rando on the internet. Like, no, you should start streaming. Well, okay, I'll get the equipment, get it figured out, and let's get going. And they were like, well, why don't you try Twitch? I was like, what is Twitch?
Yeah.
And then I started streaming on Twitch, and I've like found so many cool people there, and like it was people like you in the chat that pushed me to start doing this. So thank you.
Yep. And the same goes for me. It was Gary and Jeremy one Friday Night Tights that said, "Hey, pick up a camera, start recording, get your voice out there." That is what they said, plain and simple. And it struck a chord in me because it was after the Super Bowl and after Amazon debuted their disgusting Rings of Power trailer. And I was like, this is wrong. This is completely, I totally understood everything that people were talking about when they were talking about episode 7 of Star Wars being horrible before it was even released. I understood it. Star Trek, before it was even released, I understood it. Any new Star Trek product, like the TV shows or any of the new movies, I understood it. Doctor Who, before a new season was released, I understood. Like, I was able to go back in time and listen to what they had to say because I heard it. I just didn't care. I was like, Doctor Who? I stopped watching Doctor Who at the 11th Doctor because I finished the 11th Doctor and I was like, that's a really good. Matt Smith was an amazing doctor. David Tennant was an amazing doctor. And then even the 9th one, I forget that actor's name, but I started with the 9th Doctor, and I liked
a lot
his
of people
Doctor
did
as well. So I stopped watching Doctor Who at the 11th. I didn't care. I hadn't watched Doctor Who for 50 years, you know? Star Trek, I watched the original Star Trek on like Friday mornings with my dad because it was like on a rerun. I remember watching the original Star Trek from the 60s with my dad because my dad watched that when he was a child. And so it was nostalgia for him. I didn't care about Star Trek because guess what? When I was a child, they released those stupid movies with the J.J. Abrams reboot, basically. And so I had no connection to Star Trek. I had no connection to Doctor Who. I had no connection to Star Wars because I enjoyed the prequels, but I grew up in a time of the internet when everyone hated the prequels. There was nothing but prequel hate back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I was one of the people who liked the prequels, and I didn't understand the hate. And I still, to this day, like, I get Jar Jar Binks. I get it. Yes, people don't like Jar Jar Binks, but like the rest of it to me was always fine. Like, I always was a prequel supporter, and then when Lucas, like, I'm wearing a Star Wars t-shirt. I just now realized that when Lucas sold his stuff, I understood why he did it because of all of the freaking hate he got. And so I've always been an EU fan. I was always a prequels fan. I was always like, yes, George's writing is like, I always understood that, but I was like, I like the story. I like what he's done. And I understood, if he's going to get pooped on all the time, like, yeah, sell it. I understood. And you know what I said to people when they're like, oh, Disney's going to make cool things. I'm so excited. And I'm like, their first announcement was the EU is no longer canon. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah, I could not believe that they did that because the Mandalorian that children are growing up with today, the Mandalorian people, are completely different than the EU Mandalorians. And I believe that
I've always loved the Mandalorian. Like, the only, like, I will watch the Mandalorian, like the Disney version, because I'm a girl and I like cute little things.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, that's the only reason why. Like, I like the Mandalorian, one, because I finally get to see one of the most badass, like, cultures on cinema be represented finally, but they're represented all wrong, and it makes me sad, but it also makes me excited because people are asking questions like, what is this? And I can be like, you know what, actually Boba Fett should have been Mandalore. And this is why, and you should go read this thing that talks about the Mandalorian history and culture.
Yep.
Like, that's what gets me excited when these stupid people create the stupid stuff. We as true fans can be like, actually, so that story that the Amazonian whatever is printing out, pooping on you. Actually, if you want to read the real thing, there's books that actually discuss what actually happened during the series that they're actually messing up. Like, point them back to the real stuff. That's the only reason I'm excited about some of this stupid crap is it gives us an opportunity to point them to, hey, actually, did you know this was based off of a book? Actually, did you know that they got this idea from this author who wrote this book 15, 20 years ago? Did you know that the Witcher series is based off of a book? Did you know that Star Wars, creators wrote books? Did you know the Lord of the Rings is based off a book? Did you know that C.S. Lewis, who is a close friend with J.R.R. Tolkien, wrote a book, like several books? Like, that's what I'm excited about. Like, we can be like, hey, I know you think you like this. You think you like this. Let me show you why you actually don't like it. You like this.
And they just don't understand it. They only want to consume visual media because they have such a short attention span. Now, Rings of Power and House of the Dragon, which is the two main fantasy powerhouses at this moment that are streaming right now, they only give you about 50 minutes of content. 50 minutes. That is all that people can muster for attention for 1 week. For one episode, 50 minutes of content. Do you really think people are going to sit down and read a book? Do you really think people are going to read a book and sit there and read page after page after page? No. Do you really think that they're going to read complex books like C.S. Lewis and the Silmarillion or the Lord of the Rings? Like, and C.S. Lewis, even though the Chronicles of Narnia is meant somewhat for, I would say it's meant for teenagers, not so much children.
Yeah,
it is
like
still
young
kind
adults.
of complicated. It's
in
because
some sense, yes.
at the time, children were taught how to read and write English.
You were taught
way
Latin
better
in high
than
school.
us. Yes.
You were taught Latin in high school. Do you realize how dumb we are as a society right now? They used to teach Latin, Greek, French.
And I truly believe that is because, like, our attention span is directly linked to what we were taught in high school and how we were taught in high school. If you were just taught like how I was taught, to consume some information and then regurgitate it for one test, and then that test is never seen ever again, you're never going to learn. And I truly believe that is why.
Yeah, I remember looking that up. Smile. Yeah. So the C.S. Lewis' Space Trilogy, which Smile a While for me got me as an early birthday present. I love you, dear. Mwah, thank you. So it is like it's a space odyssey type thing, but it is based on like the universe of Lord of the Rings. It's just a tale in a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, that is interesting. I've never read that.
My good friend Smile got me this. Mwah. So I'm going to be reading this at some point in time, and I was thinking
I may steal that.
I was thinking if I read it fast enough, which I think I have enough time to. I should probably get through this by the time Orlando comes around. I will let you borrow it, Ark.
Yeah.
And then we can do a review on it.
Oh, fancy.
Because this is Literary Souls, and this is a book, a piece
That's
of literature.
True. I am interested. Didn't even know that he made a sci-fi book.
Oh, Oh, all of the
I
things that C.S.
I
Lewis has
thought
written.
I thought he was just a fantasy writer that made a magic lion.
Oh, no. Yeah, so
Like,
the 3 books takes place on book 1 is Mars, Venus, 3 is Earth. Yeah. But it's like future. Yeah, it's sci-fi. I know a little bit about the space trilogy because I am a C.S. Lewis person, and basically like it's kind of a dystopian. Like it's just a dystopian sci-fi.
oh, I like those. I like those.
So yeah. Yep.
It seemed like every single writer that wanted to write like a cyberpunk or a steampunk or like a sci-fi space opera of some kind, it was always going to be dystopian, like around the 40s and 50s. But I mean, they just went through World War II. What do you expect?
That is true, yeah. Late Art says Ark is a fake nerd.
Hey now. I think you might be right because I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
No worries. Yeah, I will get started reading this after my D&D game tonight.
Mhm.
And I will, cuz I'm a pretty fast reader. You know, I can get through a book like this probably in a couple weeks or so.
No, show off.
I used to speed read for fun, okay? I got through Harry Potter. I think I got through book 4 in a week. Couple weeks.
Well, that's just disgusting. But anyways, you want to go back to talking about Rings of Power?
Let's now that we've kind of cleansed our palate for a moment, cleansed our mind palate.
Oh, because this
Let's
is the
dive
best
back
part.
in.
So we were at the fake battle of Helms Deep, right? At the tavern. Yeah.
Yep.
So the humans and the elf, they prepare for their assault, and they get their defenses set up. Then it turns to dark, and you see a bunch of orcs come through, and they come up a hill, and they start walking down the hill, and then the orcs cross a bridge. Bronwyn then tries to light something like a cart. That
He's
was part of
lighting the
barrel.
effing beacons. Is that what he's
No,
doing?
no. Bronwyn, this is the healer lady.
Oh,
Yeah,
her.
she's trying to light the quote unquote beacons, but it's actually just a diversion. So she's making some noise, and an orc, I guess, hears it, or they just tell the orc to go over in that direction. Like, oh, totally not to further the plot in a stupid way. But anyways, an orc wanders over there with a lit torch to go and investigate, and she stabs the orc in the toe because it like gets up on top of the cart, and that's the only body part that she knows to hit is the toe. So she hits it in the toe with a scythe.
She's
And
a healer.
yeah, and then the orc immediately kills the person that was like helping Bronwyn, like
Well,
that was the helper.
no.
Yeah.
Duh,
And
Sherlock.
and then Bronwyn just like has plot armor and can't get hit. So she goes ahead and kills the orc, lights the cart on fire, and then pushes it towards like it's like rigged up to where it can be pushed towards the orcs that are coming across the bridge. Well, guess
Mhm.
what? The orcs see a flaming cart rolling towards them. They just get out of the way. And then
Of course.
but here's the thing that was supposed to happen. It traps them from behind. It like sets everything on fire behind them. And then there's another one that traps everything in front. So the orcs are kind of cornered. Now this looks to be about a party of about 45 orcs, right?
Okay.
The villagers start killing all of the orcs, and they're all happy, and everything's going right, and then they win, right?
Sure.
Well, there was a couple orcs that come up behind Arondir, the elf of color. He's the only elf that I swear is deaf, because they come up behind him and start beating the crap out of him. Well, he dispatches those two orcs, and then a gigantic orc that is taller than the elf comes out of nowhere, and he's in plate armor. And Arondir thinks that it's a smart move to punch him straight in the chest, and like I guess he doesn't break his hand, but yeah, he gets into a gigantic fight with a gigantic orc, and the orc absolutely beats the crap out of him. It's hilarious. It's actually a good watch. I would watch that just to see Arondir get his butt whooped. Just do it. It's funny.
So they actually like let one of the main characters get injured?
Yes, but watch this. Arondir is almost like he's about to get shanked by the orc. And the orc it's like one of those, like, Aroundir has his both hands on the orc's arm, and the orc is like on top of him trying to like drive it down into Aroundir's eye, all yada yada yada. Bronwyn comes up, saves the day by cutting the orc's head off. Plot armor. So, like, they think that they've won. They think that the orcs are all dead. Turns out that the orcs that they were fighting were actually just the humans in disguise. They sent the human force first. So that means there's orcs all around them in the woods. And then they come pouring out, like, just slaughtering villagers. Everyone goes back into the tavern and holes up into the tavern. And, yeah, they have a little standoff. Bronwyn gets shot with an arrow and is basically, like, going to pass out from blood loss. So they cauterize the wounds. And then in a round, like, the orcs break into the tavern. They break open the door and they're able to infiltrate. They then hold Theo, Bronwyn, and a bunch of other villagers hostage, and they basically force Aroundir to stand down because he was killing orcs left and right because he's a trained warrior.
Of course.
This is where the elvish, orcish first orc dude, Adar, comes in, and he says, all I want is the sword hilt thingy, and the key. And Aroundir isn't going to budge, so Adar starts killing the villagers one by one.
Well, of course, as one does.
Oh, hey, A2. How are
you? A2! Speaking of that interruption, but you are not an interruption, A2, because you are lovely. Mwah. Today, I didn't know, was International Coffee Day. How could I forget that today is International Coffee Day and I am now out of coffee and I didn't brew anymore? But remember, coffee is the elixir of life.
That is a fantastic segue. And also, are you or are you not an affiliate of Geek Grind Coffee?
I am. If you like coffee and you like tea, and you like playing D&D, like I'm going to be playing D&D this afternoon, Geek Grind Coffee, because they are also sponsored. They also sponsor the Friday Night Tights show. But yeah, like, speaking of elves and elven things, this is the Elven Enlightenment Brew. It is a medium roast blend. And it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I'm not a medium roast person. I'm usually a darker roast person. But this was okay for a medium roast. If you like the more, lighter roasts.
Yes.
But yes.
Go to Geek Grind Coffee and use code what?
Mando20.
Mando20. There we go.
You'll get a discount.
So we go back to the tavern, which I'm sure has some Geek Grind Coffee somewhere.
Of course.
Adar is killing the villagers. Aroundir is being stoic. He's upset that he's killing the villagers, but he's being kind of stoic about it. And then Theo says, stop killing him, because they're about to kill Bronwyn next. He's going to kill Theo's mother, the healer lady. And Theo knows exactly where Aroundir put the sword hilt, which is under the floor. So he gets the sword hilt and gives it to Adar. He gives him the key. So now we're in a pickle. The orcs have what they came for, and they can go ahead and kill all of the villagers now, couldn't they?
They could. Hello, dear. Hello. Mwah.
Well, this is the Battle of Helms Deep. And what happens at the end of Battle of Helms Deep? Well, this is the fake Battle of Helms Deep.
Right.
The cavalry is here. The Númenóreans, led by Galadriel, and also they have the queen. The queen of Númenor is there. And they charge the village, and they slaughter most of the orcs.
Of course they do, because why wouldn't Númenor be at a random village A here and random village town randomly?
Absolutely. And that takes us to the Númenórean arc, which also ties into Galadriel's arc. And after that, we'll get to like the end of episode 6, and you'll be all caught up. You don't even have to watch anything.
Fabulous. Thank you. You have saved my eyes and my brain.
I really haven't saved the brain, though, because this is still cancer. So Galadriel, of course, we all know what goes on with Galadriel. She's an annoying princess that thinks she's a warrior and commander. She's going to go ahead and use strong whammon powers to swim halfway across the ocean, and she somehow stumbles upon Halbrand, who is totally not Sauron, totally not. And then they start floating. Oh yeah, there's a sea monster that just happens to disappear, like never seen again. Just
Plot
used
armor.
just used to quote unquote further the plot. Halbrand and Galadriel get caught in a storm. They almost die. They don't. They get saved by a bunch of Númenóreans. Oh no, who's the captain? Elendil. Elendil then takes them to Númenor. Galadriel is a little sneaky ninja and is really powerful and can beat the crap out of Númenóreans, even though she's like 5 foot nothing, and they're supposed to be like 6'4", because that's what Númenóreans were supposed to be. So yeah, that happens. Elendil then becomes her quote unquote guide of Númenor, and he is supposed to be by her side at all times. He's not supposed to let her out of her sight whenever she's walking around the city. He fails at that.
Of course.
She goes and she meets with the Queen Regent. Now, even Amazon misuses the word regent. Queen Regent is the queen mother of an infant monarch, whether that be another queen or a king. That is the word regent. Now, queen consort is the queen to the monarch that is a man, the king. Queen regnant is the queen that is the monarch.
Yes. Queen
Elizabeth, the Queen of England that just passed away.
May she rest in peace.
She was the regnant of the English monarchy. She was the monarch. She was the queen. She was not a regent. She was not a consort. And they don't even get that right. In their own billion-dollar project, they don't get that right. They can't even do that much research. They constantly call Muriel the Queen Regent, which is wrong. It should be the Queen. It should just be the Queen. Or if you want to go with the Queen Regent, you say Queen Regnant, which is Regnant. If you don't believe me, go ahead and Google it. Go ahead and get a dictionary.
Because that's actually there was a YouTube video that I noticed that kind of talked about that because of, how Prince Henry, or now King Henry, and, why he, like, the people weren't kings, but they were kings and they were princes, and why this person was named queen, but she wasn't named queen, and Queen Elizabeth the first, second, it's a cool, interesting video. You should look up why, like, how the royal family does things.
And we have specific words for specific reasons. Learn them, use them correctly.
Yes.
That is all you have to do, Amazon. That is all you have to do.
Yeah.
Is use them correctly. And you wouldn't have stupid low-hanging fruit blunders like this. Anyways, Galadriel and Queen Muriel kind of go at it. Galadriel has a tempest inside of her. She goes and meets the old king, which is
so they don't
Muriel's
actually do
father.
like fisticuffs?
No, they don't. Well, they kind of do verbal fisticuffs, and then we learn that Galadriel has a tempest inside of her. Ooh, scary.
Galadriel could take down all of Númenor with a snap of her fingers if she wanted to, but not this Galadriel. No, not this Galadriel.
Even the Silmarillion Galadriel, I doubt that.
I mean, she could probably take out. She was able to move an entire army across the continent just in a fog.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Prove me wrong. I want quotes. I want evidence. I'm just being contrarian for no reason.
But she is definitely the Silmarillion and canon Galadriel could take down this other Galadriel without thinking about it. Be like,
without even thinking about it. So Galadriel is given like command of 5 Númenórean ships and 500 warriors. And then she has to train those troops, so she decides to train them in the middle of a market square next to a forge. And it is the absolute worst choreography I have ever seen. Ever. Oh, I think your camera died.
Oh, dang it. Oh, of course it did.
That is the perfect beam face. Late art, clip this.
No!
Ah, it's
Let's see,
perfect.
does
Clip
this
it.
fix it? Nope. Nope.
Nope. Your camera died.
No.
Yes, I love it.
I'm gonna mute. I'll be right back, guys. I'm still gonna stay here. I'm just gonna fix my camera. Continue on, good
I
sir.
will.
Continue on.
will. That is amazing. This is the best. I love it so much. Can we all just point and laugh at Mando real quick? Can we, please? That would make me feel so happy. But to continue, I lost my train of thought because of that. That was absolutely hilarious. Where was I? Oh yes, she's training them in an open square in a market, and it's the absolute worst choreography I've ever seen. That we move on from there to Galadriel and Halbrand having a conversation, and Halbrand is like, "Why do you continue to fight? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Yada yada yada." Oh, you're back. Hello, and Galadriel says that she can't stop fighting. She doesn't know how to stop fighting. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So they go on the boat and everyone's wearing armor and yeah. Yeah, they sail. They sail from Numenor in 5 episodes of absolute nothing. 5 absolutes in Numenor. It should be like the highlight of the series. Absolutely nothing happens. The guild, there's like a artisans guild that basically turns into the South Park They Took Her Gerbs skit, and like they don't like elves for some reason, and then our Farazan is not the king, he is just a counselor. And
I mean,
it's beautiful. It's lovely. I love it. Oh, and guess what? Muriel is in gold. You know how they called our Farazan the Golden King? Well, she is in gold armor in episode 6.
bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
So all of this kind of merges together. And I must note, I haven't even gotten to the Harfoots. I'm going to keep them aside, the Harfeetsies. Yeah, I'm not even talking about them. Let's
not even talk about the Harfeetsies, please. I don't want to bring
nonsense. They could have cut them. They could have cut every single scene with a Harfoot, and it would have actually made the show better. It would have went from a 1 to a 2.
I don't understand why when they bring in the Harfeetsies into a scene, they focus on their feet and then they widen the angle.
All the time. Every time.
I don't want to see their feet.
That or their stupid weed-covered heads. So
like yes, they are called Harfeet. I don't care about their feet.
As the Numenorians are sailing across the sea, all of everything that I just said about the village being under attack is happening. So they get there, they make landing, and then they get on their horses and they ride. Well, they go up the river. I believe it's the Anduin River, that the Anduin River goes all the way down to the bay. And so they go up the river, like where Osgiliath would have been, that river. And then they like go off like to the right towards Mordor, if you're looking at a map. Actually, you know what? If you would give me a moment, I can bring up the map that I took of a screenshot.
Wow. Well, aren't you just fancy schmancy with the screenshots?
Yes, because I went painstakingly through about 4 episodes of nonsense just to get screenshots, and I'm not even going to use them now. So let me go here, bring this up. Let me go here. Close that. Where's the share screen? Share screen. And we're going to share this. So this is the Southlands. This is where it takes place, right here.
Right.
This is the river that they come up, and then they're going to come across here. They're going to come through here. They're going to come through, and that is Mount Doom right there. That says Orage Ruin. So that's Mount Doom. This is what we're dealing with. This is Osterith. That is the Elvish / Orcish tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is where the dam is. Pay attention to that. Now, you have the Numenorians come over here. They're riding their horses. They probably haven't stopped at all. And then they come in and they slaughter all the orcs. So now we have all of the story arcs, except for the Harfoots, merge. Because the Harfoots are above the mountains of shadow up here. Or the
Mhm.
Ash Mountains. I forget which one it is. One's the Mountain of Shadow, one is the Ash Mountains. And the Harfeets are up here. They're not even with the rest of the story. They're just by themselves, away from everything. So you have Galadriel, you have Arondir, you have Bronwyn, you have Theo, you have Halbrand, you have Elendil, Isildur, you have the Queen,
Mhm.
and you have all of the orcs, the Numenorians, and the villagers. Those are all the characters and groups that you have gathered together in this one area. Well, Waldrig, the crackhead, the methed up crackhead, he has control of the sword hilt key thing because the elf orc, like first orc dude corrupted by
Mhm.
Morgoth, he exchanged the sword hilt thing, gave it to Waldrig, and said, I have something for you to go do it. And that is to go back to Osterith. So that's where Waldrig is going when Numenor comes in and just slaughters all the orcs. There's a bait and switch. The first orc goes ahead and runs off somewhere. He runs off trying to get people away from Waldrig to not notice that he left, thinking that the first orc still had the sword hilt thingy, right?
Mhm.
Turns out it was just a regular hatchet. The bait and switch was successful. After they capture the first orc, the Morgoth orc, they bring him back, they interrogate him. Turns out that Galadriel is going to keep this orc alive, and he is going to be the last orc that she kills, because she is going to slaughter every other orc that is in existence, and he is going to be the last one. She is insane. She is legitimately disturbed. She is turning on the verge of evil.
Speaking of that, the quartering 3 hours ago just did a clip or showed a clip. I want to show it. It's
Yes,
effing amazing.
give me 1 second. We're almost done. So
Yes.
after she has that insane rambling against that Morgoth orc, there's a gigantic rumble. And that's back at Osterith. Waldrig puts the key, he stabs himself with the key, and that's how you activate it. It's blood magic. You activate the key, and then he puts it into the keyhole, he turns it, and that lowers the dam, and that lets all of the water go, and the trenches and tunnels that the orcs were building all converge on Mount Doom, and all of the water goes into those tunnels and trenches, and it funnels it straight towards Mount Doom. So it's going all the way up here. And it's going to go in here, and it's going to go into the main chamber of the volcano, and then it's going to erupt. And guess what? Galadriel walks outside and stares at Mount Doom erupting and does absolutely nothing but stare. And if you paid attention into any of the trailers that have been dropped, you'll see Cheeto dust Galadriel. That is in the next episode. I am guaranteeing it.
What is up, Megan? How are you doing
Hey,
today?
Megan.
You lovely, lovely lady.
So that is the end of episode 6.
Oh my
And that was the story arc of 6 hours of content I was able to share in, I would say, about 30 minutes. I completely excluded the Harfeets because they are not needed. They can be cut from the entire storyline. They do nothing this entire season. Now, they might do something in episode 7 and episode 8, but as of right now, they have done nothing. Meteor Man has done nothing. All they have done is shown that the Harfeetsies are insane maniacs that leave people behind if they get stuck in the mud, or if there's a rock slide, or somebody gets sick. They say, yeah, we're going to take your wheels, and then we're going to keep moving because we have to go to the next migration spot. And so they kill their own people, and then they have a gigantic banquet, and they say, in honor of like remembering them, they say, we're waiting for you. We await thee. But they're dead, and they know they're dead. So it's just one of those things that makes no sense whatsoever.
So I'm gonna show the clip that the quartering just posted.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You know. So
Yep.
hopefully I shared the audio properly. This is just how so when plot armor becomes too thick, stuff like this happens.
Pause it. So we have an
That was a
orc.
6-second clip.
We have an orc that is about, I would say, 5'6" in stature right now, taking a shot at a mounted warrior, or a mounted soldier, at least. That's what we should label it, because that's what it is. If you were just to describe it, that's what it would be described as. Takes a shot, misses. Turn the music off so we can just go dissect this frame by frame. Pause. Play. Right there.
Oh.
Right there. Do you see how she has bent her entire body?
That's not normal.
Her right leg is still on the horse while her left leg is also on the horse. Now, I don't know much about horseback riding, and I have seen people do this trick where you can hide yourself behind the horse, but you're using all of your upper body strength, and you're using some of your leg strength as well, and core strength. But you're basically grabbing the entire side of one horse as it trots away. This is her inverted, contorted on a galloping horse.
How is her leg bending like that?
What is her left leg doing?
I don't know.
And look at her left arm. Her left arm would be just under so much stress. Her left shoulder would be under so much stress.
This is supposed to be full plate armor.
And this is full plate armor. This is not mithril, which is light, but also sturdy. This is plate armor. Steel. This is not aluminum. This is not brass. This is...
Looks so fake. It looks so fake.
Go ahead and play it, and then when the orc gets chopped in half, pause it right around there. Try to pause it around that frame.
There.
So now she is doing an upper swing as the horse is galloping by.
Oh, that's how her foot. What?
So okay, so her left. That's a perfect stop. Don't do anything.
Oh,
that is a perfect representation. Her left leg is in the reverse position of the saddle of the what are your footholds?
Stirrups.
I know what they're called. Stirrups. So that is what is keeping her up. Her left leg and left arm. Her right leg is doing nothing but just sitting on top of the horse. It's not gripping anything. If she started to fall, she would not be able to hold on with just her right leg. And then on top of all of that, how is she able to come up with enough force to cut off the orc's head?
Like the amount of up, like because she's slicing up, like her core and her arm, like that's just so much like unnecessary,
she's gotta have
unneeded,
a well-defined six-pack.
Yeah.
Like there's no way that any of this would happen. And I know what they're gonna say. It's a magic sword. It's an elvish sword. No, it does not have a name.
She just came from Numenor.
Yeah. The only thing she had with her was her brother's knife. That was it. That's the only elvish blade that she has. And on top of that, they're probably going to say, well, Halbrand went ahead. Well, if you're a detractor and you're a shill for Amazon, you believe that Halbrand is not Sauron. So Halbrand is just a man. Halbrand would not know how to make a proper weapon befitting an elvish warrior.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to figure out. So, who is Sauron? Is that the game that we're playing with this?
Yes,
We're just playing Who's Sauron right now.
That is the game that people are playing, but I already know that Halbrand is Sauron. That is what I am betting. I am betting everything. And you know what? I'm going to make this statement. I will delete my YouTube channel and stop my YouTube career if Halbrand is not Sauron.
Okay. All right. We wanting to analyze this more, or?
No, I'm done with it.
Okay.
It's trash.
Yeah. For those of you who are curious and watch Shadowversity's videos, he did do a review on the Rings of Power. I have not watched it yet, but I imagine it's going to be gold. You should watch that. Because I was still like, there was an article that I thought it was IMDb put out, which is an Amazon site, that they heard rumors that the Meteor Man is Sauron.
I don't buy it.
Okay.
I am doubling down.
Okay.
I'm doubling down on my statement.
Okay.
So
what? Like what?
Go ahead and clip this to your heart's content, people. I am saying that Halbrand is Sauron. Have you seen the conversation? Well, maybe not you, Mando, but those that have watched the show, have you seen the conversation that he has had with Galadriel? Have you seen the interactions that he had? And on top of that, Halbrand is the one to capture the Morgoth orc. Halbrand is the one that almost kills the Morgoth orc because he was wronged by that orc earlier. Now, they want to put it off as, oh, somebody that he loved that was a human was killed by that orc, by the orcs in general. And so he wanted to kill that orc out of vengeance. Yada, yada, yada. So, my interpretation of that scene as, I'm already betting that Halbrand is Sauron.
Okay.
My interpretation was, I think that orc probably in this quote unquote trash heap of a show, this disgusting piece of crap that they call Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, I'm betting that orc did kill Sauron. Because the orc talks about how he was taken up north with a legion of other orcs by Sauron.
Mm-hmm.
And remember in the first episode where they go to the far
ice
north
fortress,
into the ice fortress?
Mm-hmm.
That is where Sauron was experimenting on them, trying to find the power to do something. They never said what, but I believe he was trying to find the necessary power to create the One Ring, and he decided to use blood magic because he was sacrificing orcs left and right.
Right.
And so my opinion on this scene, and we'll go over it. We'll watch it together. We'll have a little watch party and then break out the whiskey and have a grand old time.
Yup.
My thought is, and it hasn't been confirmed, but my thought is that the orc killed Sauron, and Sauron was a ghost, as he is an ethereal being, and he went away, and then he came back in the form of Halbrand. Because Halbrand is supposed to be the Southlanders' king that was promised. It's a total Jon Snow or like Azor Ahai Game of Thrones style king that was promised.
Okay. I see your point. I see. Interesting.
And so, we'll see about the second season if they want to try to rewrite stuff and say, haha, we got you. But as of right now, it's Halbrand that's Sauron for me.
Yeah, I just then the people who are theorizing that the Meteor Man is Gandalf. Okay. That's where that's coming
pretty
from then.
sure that Meteor Man is going to end up being Gandalf of some form, which is depressing in its own right.
I just like if they're doing like cuz none of this is in the books. Absolutely. They basically what they have done is they have taken key names and they just stuck them in their own story. In essence, a horrible, and it's only I use this word because it's the only word I know to describe what they've done is a horrendous fanfic. Like a fanfic that they're like, yeah, these characters, their names, we're gonna put them in our own story. And call it all similar stuff.
I don't know why they don't do that.
Like, why are they trying to make this seem like it's quote unquote canon? Like, even the normies are trying to justify it, saying, no, this is another universe. Like, oh, if they had just outright, like in the beginning, said, yeah, this is not a canon story, this is just our own interpretation, we would be having a different conversation.
Guess who
Very
did that?
different.
Guess who did that? Middle Earth, Shadow of War, and Shadow of Mordor. Those two games, with Shadow of War being the first one, they said just that. They said this is not canon. We're not saying it's canon. It completely messes up the timeline because of Gollum being there, and it's like Talion is killed, and then it time jumps 10 years, apparently. I think that's the timeline it goes. It time jumps 10 years, and then he is the immortal Wraith Crusader that is killing orcs and gonna fight Sauron and all that good stuff. And Gollum is there, and then all of a sudden Celebrimbor's there, and it's just. But I like that game purely on the fact that you get to kill orcs with bows and arrows.
Right? Like
It-
we as fans, we're okay with fanfics. We're okay with non-canon things. Tell us it's not canon. Tell us it's not supposed to be part of the bigger world in the beginning, and then we'll have a different conversation of, oh, this is how it changes the canon, but I like these changes because XYZ thing. Like we would have a completely different conversation because there are fanfics out there about different animes that I like. I think some of the fanfics are actually better than some of the canon stuff, but I know it's not canon. But the writing's better. I like the plot, and we have a different conversation about that's a cool idea that you did with this XYZ thing. Like we'd have a different conversation.
And it's depressing when you think about it, because
It is.
they have tried to hogtie us where your every ist and ism and
Cause like, and I'll just be like real with a lot. Like I've been in a mode where I've been reading a lot of fanfic about a show that got delayed that I really like. Many of you, it's Ruby. It's an anime called Ruby. It's very divisive. Whatever. I like the show. It has bad writing too. Whatever.
Ruby's all right.
I've been reading a ton of Ruby fanfic because the new season was supposed to come out this year and it's not. And so I'm like, I want some Ruby. I want some more. And so I go to fanfic to just scratch the itch of I want to watch this show, but I can't watch more of the show because I've already watched the whole thing a few times now. So let's go find something else. But I understand it's not canon. It has nothing to do with the canon show. But it's still about these characters in the world and somebody else's idea. I've been reading a lot of fanfic, but like we have a different expectation when you go, well, like when you're walking into, or when you're wanting to read a fanfic, you don't have the same expectation of, well, they changed this thing in the canon. Well, no, duh, Sherlock, this is a fanfic. They're just doing this because they wanted to write, because they wanted, they have the itch. They're like, I want to watch more Ruby, but I can't. So I'm just going to write something. Like, completely different expectation. I expect them to do things non-canon because they don't know what the canon is right now because it's not out. The new season's not there. And so they're speculating on what it could be. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Why did they have to go and in the beginning of, Rings of Power and say, no, 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 this is canon. Don't you complain about it. No, they would have been like, no, this is just our retelling of the First Age because we don't have let's be honest with you, the fan, we don't have the rights to the First and Second Age. We have a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do a what if and have some of the names and write our own story, with the information we have.
You know what's beautiful though is I've been really deep diving into the appendices. And if you read the Silmarillion and you read the appendices, every major place is spoken about in the appendices. Well, I should say almost. There might be a few discrepancies here and there, but Thangorodrim is mentioned. Galadriel's family is mentioned, so you get all of those names. Feanor is mentioned. The Silmarils are mentioned. Like everything is mentioned in the appendices. So yes, that means that John Tolkien was thinking about the Silmarillion a long, long time, and it confirms it because the Lord of the Rings was released first edition, no appendices. Second edition with appendices. Because he added the appendices because there was a group of people, a group of major fans that greatly wanted to have more information about the Lord of the Rings. They wanted to have more information about the Lord of the Rings because they loved it so much. So he gave it to them. The appendices are literally a sneak peek to what the Silmarillion could have been. And I believe, if I say could have been, if John Tolkien was alive to personally publish the Silmarillion, I think that it would have tied into the appendices just like lock and key, like gears. It would have meshed together perfectly.
Yup.
So, good grief. I wish that he could have self-published the appendices. The Silmarillion, because then there would be you wouldn't be allowed to make something like this because the Silmarillion would have been like, oh wait, no. John Tolkien was alive when he published this book called the Silmarillion, and it ties directly into what the appendices is talking about. So you cannot take these large gaps of time that the appendices covers, and you cannot condense it into 50 years. You can't do that. Because the Silmarillion would have expanded upon the Lord of the Rings and what the First and Second Age is talked about in the Lord of the Rings, while also expanding and being cohesive with what the appendices says about the First and Second Age. And what I love about the appendices is it goes into the Fourth Age as well, mainly about the hobbits, but you do get to see that King Eomer, you do get to see that Faramir becomes a great lord of Ithilien. You do get to see that Aragorn and Arwen have a happy, happy life. So, yeah, I wish we could have gotten more. But
yeah,
I've said this on other podcasts, and I'm going to make a deep dive video about it on my own. He edited constantly from 55 almost to 67, I want to say. Basically 10 to 12 years of editing his work, The Lord of the Rings, because the publishers and editors were scoundrels and dirtbags and wanted to change his words to fit what they thought the culture of humanity at the time of the 50s and 60s would want to hear. And he said, no, you're going to use dwarves with a V, not dwarfs. You're going to use elves with a V, not elves. And that's just the low-hanging fruit that you can pull. But there's so much more that he had to edit out, that he had mistakes that he had to correct in his work. And that was so time-consuming. So, man,
But we're the bigots and the racists and all the ists and the phobes because we are upset at them trying to change the canon. When if they would just say this is not canon in the first place and didn't try and lie to us, I think a lot more people, me included, would have been okay with this because I'm fine with people throwing their own ideas out there for stuff when I know it's not supposed to be canon and it's just their own ideas. Like, I'm okay with that. But just tell me. Don't lie to me. Don't tell me that you have the source material when you don't. Don't tell me that I'm an istanophobe because they're changing stuff when they're trying to tell you this is canon's. Like they're writing the book that Tolkien didn't write. No, don't put his name in there. Say I'm writing a book that I think would have been a cool idea if Tolkien blah 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 blah.
Do not say you are writing the novel Tolkien never could or never did.
Because you don't know that. We don't know that. If he had been living right now, I wanted to. There are people I wanted to hit because they made the statement of, if he was living right now and he made the changes himself, would you have a problem with it? No! No, he wants to completely erase his canon and write something new. He's the author. He can do that.
Yep.
Would I have a problem with him kind of going back on some of the stuff? Sure. That's a little hypocritical. Whatever. But there'd be a different conversation.
You have a perfect example about an author of a finished published work going back on their word, going back on what they published, going back on what they said, on what was originally intended. Oh, what's her name? J.K. Rowling? And so, yes, if Tolkien had gone back on what he had already established in The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and had already published with the appendices, yes, you would have free reign to be upset that he did that. But sadly, in 73, he passed away. And I believe it was 75, 76, the Silmarillion was published. Or maybe that was 78. I get the late 70s mixed up so much on when it was published because after he passed away, so much happened. Christopher Tolkien was in charge of the estate, basically. And in 69, we know that he sold every single right to The Lord of the Rings, except for the book rights, to United Artists. And United Artists, we know, I believe it's 76, sold those rights, all of those rights, to Saul Zaentz. And Saul Zaentz created the Tolkien whatever. Like it's not the Tolkien estate, but it's like Tolkien Studios
Society,
or
the Tolkien Society or something.
Believe it's that, yes. And that those rights are where we get Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson's The Hobbit, and Amazon's Rings of Power. Because of those rights that were sold. Maybe if Tolkien had never sold those rights to begin with, we wouldn't have anything relating to visual media. Which
we
would
wouldn't
be
even
sad.
have Peter Jackson's. We wouldn't even have his. So
it would be sad, but also you can't be sad about something that you don't know could exist.
Yeah. I just hold on. Okay, I'll give you the nerd card back.
Thank you, Ladart.
So,
I just want to close out. Like my final statement is: read the books. Read the books. Take your time with it. If you think that it's boring, put it down and just say that you didn't like it, and we'll be fine with it. You don't have to like The Lord of the Rings. Go ahead and read some C.S. Lewis, or go ahead and read some Terry Pratchett, or even go ahead and read some J.K. Rowling. If you enjoy that, enjoy it. If you enjoy Rings of Power, that is perfectly fine.
Enjoy it. Everyone has a guilty pleasure.
Yes, everyone does. But you cannot come to us, the ones that enjoy the Lord of the Rings written media, and say that the Rings of Power is exactly the same as the books. You cannot say that. And also, you cannot say that Peter Jackson's is this, both trilogies, the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. You cannot say that those are the exact same as the books, because they're not. The books are the source material. The books are the canon. The books are to be respected. And if you cannot do that, then we can have a conversation about it. But I don't know if it's going to be a courteous conversation.
Yeah. And I think so many people, because of just how heated just the environment is, like in our in modernity, like as of this moment, like people are like, oh well, you hate this one thing, so you must hate it all. Like, no, I can have an educated conversation with you. I can tell you what exactly I don't like. You can disagree with me. I'm okay with that. We can disagree. Like Ark and I disagree on like what he considers canon as far as like Tolkien's work. Like I consider the Silmarillion canon because I consider Christopher Tolkien, kind of John Tolkien, his wishes, made reality. And like Ark and I disagree. I get that. That's fine. Okay.
And I'll be having a very, very large video about that. Maybe it might even be a mini series. I don't know. But I'm going to get Mando's opinion in full. I'm going to go and talk to other Tolkien fans and people that love John Tolkien and love Christopher Tolkien and love everything that's in the Legendarium. I'm going to go and have interviews with them. And I'm going to propose, like, I'm going to tell them my opinion on it. And then I would like to hear theirs, because that is how you have conversations about books. That is how you do it. And also, I don't have arguments. I have opinions, and we talk about them. And if you can convince me that your opinion is superior to mine, I will drop my opinion, or I will blend my opinion with yours.
And that's what we do as fans, like comic book fans, TV fans. Like, what is one of the biggest things? Like me being an anime fan, this is a weird, like, kind of whatever. But like anime fans and comic book fans, who is stronger, Goku or Superman? We have these conversations. Like people are on the Goku is blah blah blah, but Superman is blah blah. Like since the beginning of fandom, we've had these conversations of, well, I think Batman could beat Superman and Goku in a fight with his binky. Like, like we have these conversations.
But then I just come in with One Punch Man and I win every single fight.
And I like these people that are new to these fandoms aren't used to this. They're like, oh, well, my side must be right then. It's like, no. I, as a comic book fan, I will die on the molehill that Goku will defeat everyone in the whole universe, and no one can convince me otherwise. But we're gonna have a friendly conversation about like how One Punch Man might defeat Superman.
I think that would be fun. Like, I think the conversation would be fun. It'd definitely be lighthearted because it's not serious at all. They're two different IPs that we're putting together in a coliseum to fight for our amusement.
And there's no way they're ever gonna meet. There's no like we this is just completely fictional. And so this whole stupid
like
argument.
I had one guy that I saw on the internet. I wasn't having a conversation with him. He was having a conversation with somebody else. And he proposed Aragorn versus Sir Gregor Clegane. Who would win? Now, Sir Gregor Clegane is he is the mountain in Game of Thrones. He is a gigantic warrior that is very strong. Aragorn, we all know, Aragorn is the king of the soon-to-be king in the Lord of the Rings. Who would win? A son of Numenor or a gigantic hulking freak of a warrior? And it was a very interesting fight. Now, of course, you're going to go ahead, like they decided to give it to the mountain because of her size. But there were many people that wanted to talk about like Aragorn's physical feats and everything like that. So it's just those like you don't have to do comic books versus manga or anime versus regular TV, or you can do anything that you want to do. You can have Aragorn versus Superman if you really want to.
I mean, I think we can all agree Superman would win. Like,
yeah, we can all agree on that. Unless Aragorn had his sword completely made out of kryptonite.
Oh, then that would be a fight.
Yeah. But that's all I have to say today. Like, you have to find something that you love in a fandom. You have to find something that you love in an IP. Find a community that also likes that or wants to discuss and have disagreements, but friendly disagreements, and then just run with it. And we in this community here in the broader Geeks and Gamers nerdrotic community on this side of the internet, we are a very, very welcoming bunch. We
Yeah.
greatly enjoy newcomers. We welcome everyone, and it's just we want to have fun and we want to talk about it.
Yeah,
That's all we're doing.
And also, like, this stupid argument that I keep hearing, well, this is fake and fantasy, why do you care? Because I've cared since I was a kid about these stupid fictional people. Like, your brain, why are you watching this? Like, why do you care? Why do you care if it's fictional? Like, why are you arguing with me? This argument's pointless. Go away. You know,
you threw me for a loop with that one. Like,
I literally have had people like, we need to talk about the bigger issues, that you have a problem with them race changing stuff. But also, why do you even care that they race changed it because it's fictional? And I'm going, why do you care?
Why do you care?
Like that, I could just throw it back at you. Why do you care that they have to race change an elf? Like, if they have to do that to fit our cultural norms and to make people feel included, why do people care about being included in a fake show?
You want to know what would get all of my money is if they did excluding the Egyptian pantheon, if they did an African pantheon of all the different African religions that we know and understand and all the different African cultures, and if they were able to some way make an African epic, that would have all my money, because I've read some African cultures and like what their beliefs were in the ancient times. They're wild. It's wild. It's
crazy.
The same goes for Southeast Asian culture and the Pacific Islander culture. Like, there are so many different pantheons. Every single culture had a religion of some sort.
Put those on the big screen.
It didn't have to be the Abrahamic religion. It could have been what the people that practice Abrahamic religions would have called you pagan, infidel, heretic, stuff like that. But it would have been the pagans had their own culture. It would have been like the Norse had their own culture. The Celts had their own culture. The Britons had their own culture. The Etruscans, which is a people directly north of Rome, had their own culture before it was taken over by Rome. And Rome had its own culture. And
before they took over the Greeks.
And
then they kind of melded.
And the thing that I like about Rome is Rome had so many gods and goddesses that they found, like, they always want to say that Jupiter is the foil, like is the exact same god as Zeus. No, he wasn't. Jupiter was around the same time Zeus was created, because Rome is a very old culture. And so Rome had Jupiter for a while, and then they saw Zeus had many similarities as Jupiter, and so they're like, okay, well, we'll just put them together. Why not? Like we took over the Greeks. Zeus is dead. Jupiter lives.
Yep.
So
anyway,
it's just make something unique, and don't plagiarize. That's all you have to do.
Yep.
And you'll get my money.
Yep. But yeah, we are, I am hungry. You are hungry. I'm sure the audience is hungry, and I have something in my eye that I need to get out. So what are you up to, Ark? What are some streams and stuff that you're going to be doing? What you up to?
So for the rest of today and probably the rest of tomorrow, I will be editing my episodes 3 and 4 review. I'm probably going to put them together and probably do it that way. But I would love to have you on for episodes 5 and 6 if you would like, or maybe even just scratch it and just do episodes 3 to 6 and just do it that way, because I need some help. I need somebody to like share the misery with.
Misery loves company.
And so that's what I'm going to be working on. I already have a couple scripts ready. We'll go ahead and do the watch parties, like you and I, and we'll watch them together and just want to tear our hair out, of course.
I'm sure I'm going to go gray before the end of all of this.
But maybe Sunday night, I might be able to get a stream in on Twitch over on twitch.tv/Arkasule. And you will definitely know if I'll be streaming if you follow me on Twitter, which is @Arkasule. But other than that, like next week, I plan on working on scripts for some video ideas I have, some lore videos. I will be watching The House of the Dragon, the newest episode for that, and I will be preparing for my stream with Trucker Rob. Hopefully, it will be Wednesday at 2:00. If not, it might be Thursday at some point. And yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that because after watching Rings of Power, I need something that is good. And House of the Dragon, many people don't enjoy it. I'm enjoying it greatly. I think it is a powerhouse. It is not as good as seasons 1 to 3 of Game of Thrones, but it blows seasons 4 to 8 out of the water. It is everything that I wanted with court intrigue. It is everything that I wanted with dragons, and it is shaping up to be a very good series. So that's what I'm doing, and you can hear me talk about that with Trucker Rob on my podcast.
Yep. Links in the description down below. I am probably going to stream Tuesday. Hopefully we'll get that figured out. I don't know. Check out Discord and Twitter. My schedule's kind of up in the air right now because of circumstances that are outside of my control right now. But yeah, just keep an eye out. I will, just keep an eye out. We'll get this figured out, guys. You can always see me on different chats, different live streams as a guest or whatnot. I travel the internet kind of frequently, somewhat frequently. So, all right. Yeah, that's it.
That's
all right,
it.
Guys. Bye.
This has been a great chill stream. Thank you.
We'll do this again. We will do this again. Yes. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. Have a fabulous day. And don't forget, we love you guys. You guys are the reason why we do this. Bye.
Bye.